guys, it's Iasmina and welcome to my channel. Today I'm gonna do my spring book haul, that is showing you all the books that I've bought or received since basically at the end of December. So it's a lot of books, so let's just get straight to it. First I have a nice little stack of manga and graphic novels. I've started getting back into reading manga and it's so much fun. And the reason I started getting back into manga is because of Orange. So I have here Orange Volume 1 and Volume 2 by Ichigo Takano. I've read the first one, obviously, and I fell in love with the story. So this is basically about a girl who receives a letter from herself 10 years in the future, and in that letter she gets instructions on what to do on each particular day in order to change an event that happens in the past. But this was super fun and super cute, and so I'm super excited to read the second one. Then I have Ouran High School Host Club by Bisco Hattori. Now, I've seen the first episode, or maybe the first 2 episodes of the anime of this a while ago, and that was really fun, and so I wanted to give the manga a try, so I just have the first volume here, and I hope I'm gonna love it. Similar story with this one. This is Fruits Basket by Natsuki Takaya, also Volume 1. I've also seen the first episode of the anime a while back, and it was really cute, so I'm hoping the manga is also great. And then I have Tokyo Ghoul by Sui Ishida, Volume 1. I haven't seen the anime of this, but I've seen the manga of this everywhere in all the lists of best manga to read, and so I'm very excited to find if it's good or not. And then the last graphic thing I have, although it's not a manga, it's a comic book, Paper Girls, by Brian K. Vaughan and Cliff Chiang? Sorry if I've mispronounced that. But Brian K. Vaughan also wrote the Saga series, which I've read the first 3 volumes of, and it's really good, and so I'm excited about this. All I know is that it's about a group of girls who go on a paper route trail on their bicycles, possibly in the 80s. I really love the color scheme though, it's really pretty colors, so I'm super excited to find out what I think of it. Okay, so moving on to some fiction. First we have Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None. I've been meaning to read some Agatha Christie since ever, basically, since I started reading. I'm not much of a thriller crime reader, but I have read a few and it got me really interested in reading more, and so this is one of her famous works. I don't know much about it, but I think it's about a group of people living in a house or going on vacation in a house, and one by one they start dying or disappearing or something like that. I don't really want to know much about it, I just want to go in and see what it's like. Then when I went home to Romania for Christmas, I usually always buy a book or 2 when I'm home, not because they're cheaper, just because I don't know, I like buying books wherever I go. But this time I bought 3 little books. These are the Little Black Penguin classics. And so I have H.G. Wells' The Sea Raiders. These are 3 short stories. The Sea Raiders is just one of them. It was actually my least favorite short story in this. I've already read this. Actually, my favorite short story in this was called The Magic Shop. So it's a very quick and very simple little read, but it's fun, just a fun introduction to the author. Then we have Jane Austen's Lady Susan, and this is one of her less famous works, I believe, but I love her writing, so I'm very curious to see. And then we have Edgar Allan Poe's A Modern Detective. Again, I know nothing about this, but it's a short little read, and I'm excited to read something by Poe. I've never read him, so. Then, as a Christmas present, my mom bought me Sophie Kinsella's My Not So Perfect Life. This is contemporary, kind of chick lit fiction. I've read Sophie Kinsella before, when I was younger, although I read some of her more adult stuff, I guess, but it's still pretty good and pretty enjoyable reads. And I think this is more young adults, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, Jojo Moy said, left me giddy with laughter. I loved it, so I'm always up for something light-hearted and funny to read, so this might be just it. Then we have a fantasy book, Promise of Blood by Brian McClellan? I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce that, but this is, I guess, military-inspired sci-fi. It says, it's a bloody business overthrowing a king, but amid the chaos, a whispered rumor is spreading. A rumor of a broken promise, omens of death, and the gods returning to walk the earth. Surely nobody really believes those old legends. Perhaps they should. The Age of Kings is dead, and I have killed it. So it sounds pretty good. I think it's also a bit grimdark, and the only grimdark I've read is Joe Abercrombie, The First Law, and I wasn't a huge fan of that, but I think it's also because I listened to it on audiobook, and that might have skewed my liking of it. I find it harder to connect with characters when I listen to the audiobooks instead of reading it. I've had this on my wishlist for a very long time, and it was really cheap one day on Book Depository, so I just decided to give it a shot, so I'll let you know what I think of it. Then we have one of my new favorite contemporary books. This is This Song Will Save Your Life by Layla Sales. So I've already read this and I really loved it. I'm not gonna say too much about it, but it's basically about a girl discovering her love of music and of DJing. I love any book that deals with music. The contemporary book that I'm currently writing is actually one of them. And I haven't actually read too many books like that, or books in general that deal with music, and especially young people playing music. This was really inspiring to me because I'm currently writing that. And I highly recommend this. Then we have a sequel, A Close and Common Orbit, sequel to The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, also by Becky Chambers. This is one of my favorite sci-fi reads of all time. It is so fantastically good. It's very character-focused, very diverse. It's more of a space opera sci-fi instead of like hard sci-fi, if you know what I mean. But I love this, and so I bought the sequel, and I'm very excited. All I know is the sequel is more like a companion novel following two of the characters from this book. I'm not gonna say which ones because that's a spoiler, but I'm very excited to follow the journey further. Next we have a YA contemporary thriller, We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. I haven't read anything by E. Lockhart before, although I've heard very much about her and I've heard a lot about this book. This is sometimes compared to the book I am currently reading, The Secret History by Donna Tartt, which I am in love with this book already. I'm not even halfway through and I love this. It's fantastic. Read it. But I want to find more books like that, and so having known that this is compared to it, I bought this before I read The Secret History, even though I've had The Secret History for a while. So I am very excited about this. It's a very short book, so I'm hoping to get to this soon and see what it's like. Then we have another YA contemporary book, The Inexplicable Logic of My Life by Benjamin Alia Science. I'm so sorry, I've probably mispronounced that. But this author has also written Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, one of my favorite YA contemporary books. This was phenomenal. As you can see by the many award stickers it has won. So I'm very excited to read this. I know nothing about it. As you can tell, this is a common thing. I like to go into books blind, as long as I know the theme or the author or the genre. But just if it looks good. That's usually enough for me. And finally we have a very short book called Bitty by Nnedi Okorafor. This is a Tor.com novella, so you can see it's a very short book. And this is a sci-fi story, and I really do not want to say much about this because it is so short. But I adored this, I gave it 5 stars. All I will say is that it is about Binti going to university on a different planet, and then things happen. But this is a part of a trilogy of novellas. This is kind of a common theme now, trilogies of novellas, but I really like them because they're super short, and because they're so short they're very concise and they're very impactful. And I definitely want to read more, especially fantasy and sci-fi ones, so definitely give this one a go. That's it guys. These are all the books I have recently acquired and I am very excited to read them all. I say this all the time, and I keep buying books because buying books makes me happy. And books make me happy in general, and I will read them eventually. Anyway, you should expect some book reviews from me on this channel, from all these books that I buy and read. I'm thinking right now of doing wrap-ups, maybe monthly wrap-ups, of short reviews of all the books that I've read that month. And maybe if one book or another really strikes me as really good or really bad, I'll make a separate video review for it. But otherwise, I think I'll stick to wrap-ups. Thanks so much for watching guys, and I'll see you next Monday.